Okay, so I'm just gonna go over, for my own sake, the trades that I could have taken this week, or I guess the opportunities that were there so far. Full transparency, I have not taken a trade so far this week. Um, from what I can remember, Monday really didn't offer anything for me. Tuesday and today were 2 days where the potential for an entry was there. However, the market has been, at least for my model personally, um, it's been tough this week to really find an entry. You would have had to, one, be quick with the entry. That really wasn't my problem per se. My problem was more that I don't want to say that the setups weren't A plus, and that's why I didn't enter, because I've been trying not to do that. I've been trying to enter off of anything that I would have entered if I was back testing. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that. I don't really know in hindsight here if I would have entered into any of these setups if I was back testing. However, they do technically provide me with my model, and they all played out really nicely. So let me go over them. I'm not going to go into replay mode because, which is going to be annoying for when I go down to the 1 minute for sure, but it messes with me because then I'm like, oh, what was the bias, blah 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 blah, because I can't, like, replay mode is shitty on TradingView. I don't like it, and I can't go on FX replay right now because it won't have today's price action updated yet. Anyways, let me walk through this. So we'll start Monday. So Monday, as you can see, we were obviously bearish on the daily. Go to the 4 hour. Monday. Bearish on the 4 hour as well. Right. 1 hour actually might have been bullish, as I'm looking at this. Actually, 1 hour was 1 hour was bearish as well on the hourly. So the daily, obviously the weekly is bearish. It has been for some time now. The daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, all bearish on Monday to start off. And as you can see, we decided to rip higher. So my immediate bias was completely just wrong, which is fine. Sometimes it's going to happen. We chose to kind of reverse a little bit from there. Obviously, all we were doing was engineering liquidity for this drop we had today. But anyways, because my bias was bearish, it was going to take me a little bit of time to flip that, especially since every time frame, all the order flow was bearish. So the way my model works is I really try to trade in line with order flow. Like, if the daily wants to be bearish, but the 4 hour and the 1 hour and the 15 minutes bullish, then I'll trade bullish. But it really, like, it's not a exact formula, but majority of the time frames need to be in line with my bias for me to want to take a trade in that direction, if that makes sense. So if we had continued to sell off here and I got my model, then okay, that's easy, right? Because all the time frames are bearish, so I'm in line with order flow taking a sell. But because we chose to rip higher on open, I kind of had to wait. Like, so for instance, right, this candle actually didn't close above this high here. Like, the body of the candlesticks is what I use to judge the high. We actually didn't close above the body of the candlestick. We, like, closed exactly next to it. So I didn't even count that as a break of structure to the upside. So technically we were still bearish, in my opinion, on the hourly until we actually got this candle close here. So once we got this candle close here, okay, now we're bullish on the hourly, fair enough. I'm pretty sure the 4 hour we remained bearish, so that didn't matter. There was no candle that we could have gone above to break structure. And at that point, it's like, okay, the daily is bearish, the 4 hour is bearish, the 1 hour is bullish once we printed this candle. The 15 minutes bullish. Time frames are kind of a little bit out of whack at this point. It's like, okay, I have like 3 time frames that are bullish, 2 that are bearish. I don't really like that. So I just did not take a trade. And that was that. I did not take a trade. So we'll go on to Tuesday. Was my model present on Monday for a buy? Yeah, potentially. I don't even know. I'm really not going to pay too much attention to that because, again, I wouldn't have taken it if it was there for a buy because order flow is just not on my side. Yeah, that's about it. So that was Monday. Tuesday we come into the market. Obviously on the daily we're still bearish. Weekly I won't show it, but we are obviously still bearish. The 4 hour was bullish, right? We broke structure here with this candle. So we were bullish coming into the market on the 4 hour. So remember, daily bearish, 4 hour bullish, 1 hour. Actually, the 1 hour was bearish coming into 9 o'clock there. The 9:30 open, at that point we were bearish. So daily bearish, 4 hour bullish, 1 hour bearish. So again, you were noticing a pattern here. The order flow is not very kind to us in the sense of like being in sync, which I would love if order flow is always in sync. There's gonna be times where I'll take a trade if the order flow is not entirely in sync, but it has to be like majority of time frames have to be telling me something. In this case, we have one being bearish, the daily, one being bullish, the 4 hour, one being bearish, the hourly. Okay, this is upon market open, so I'm just showing market open at this point. And we were actually bullish on the 15-minute here. But I'll wait because this is going to make the time frames a little bit more in sync. So the 10 a.m. candle prints. Okay, now we're bullish on the hourly. We're bullish on the 4 hour. We're bearish on the daily. We're bullish on the 15-minute. So this is more of like, okay, order flow's in sync now because, you know, it is what it is. The daily's bearish. Cool. If the 4 hour and the 1 hour are in sync, I'm much more inclined to take a trade because I am intraday trading. So the 4 hour and the 1 hour mean a lot to me. And so at that point, both of those are bullish, right? 15-minute also bullish. At 10:30, we closed bullish. I'm trying to think. Was there a setup? No, there wasn't a setup until later. So there what? Oh wait, actually no. I take that back. This was the trade that I quote unquote missed. It probably would have been the only trade this week where I'm a little bit upset that I didn't take. Because again, order flow was on my side. My model played out here pretty nicely. The only reason I didn't take it was so late in the AM session, and I had to go to class. But in hindsight, dude, it would have been a 1-to-1. So the only thing I would have had to do is place. I would have entered, had my stop loss, had my take profit, and I would have just let it play. And so I didn't really have to be at the chart after I entered for it. So in hindsight, I wish I would have taken this. But anyway, at this point, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute, all bullish. Okay. Is that the high I targeted? It isn't. I targeted this. Would have been my take profit, right? The hourly fair value gap there that we were approaching. And where are we? Right here. Let me do this. So I have this when I go down to the 1 minute. So remember order flow, right? Go to the 5 minute. Obviously, we're tapping into a 15-minute fair value gap as well here, so we need that to happen as well for the model. And then let's go to the 1 minute. So the 1 minute is where you'll see the sweep happen, right? We swept that low. We swept one more low here, but all in all, you can see the sweep happen, right? We swept some lows, distributed higher. The entry that I would have been triggered on would have been honestly, if this is a 101, it would have been this. Let me see. It's close to a 101. If I gave a little breathing room above the fair value gap, I might have entered here or I might have entered here. Whatever one, it doesn't matter. I would have either entered off of this inversion fair value gap. You see how we broke through it, making this inverted, back into it, boom, that's the entry. Or I put my entry here for this fair value gap. Either or, whatever made more sense to me at the time, but that would have been a nice 1-to-1 trade that would have played out while I was in class. So that's probably the only one this week that I'm a little bit upset I didn't take. Again, Monday really had nothing for us. But order flow was in sync enough here for me to take this. We had a nice sweep. We were tapping into a 15-minute fair value gap when we were trading here. Nice distribution. The only thing that was like kind of mad about this, and another reason I didn't take it was my what's it called? My draw on liquidity. In hindsight, it's not a terrible draw on liquidity. I'm using this hourly fair value gap that I think makes sense for us to trade into. If we're going to trade this high, it wouldn't make sense for us to just leave that untouched, in my opinion. However, we were already in a daily fair value gap, so really did it matter much? I don't know. But as you can see, that we ended up tapping that. So, yeah, good trade. Probably one that the only one this week, again, I regret not taking. So, that would have been 1-0 in the week. So let's keep going. That would have been Tuesday. And after I take a trade, if it's a winner, I do not trade again on that day. So that is all we will look at for Tuesday. Actually, I do want to see something though, because I'm pretty sure, was there another setup after that? This one I don't love as much because at this point the 15-minute was bearish as well. So you had at that point, we were bullish on the hourly, bullish on the 4-hour, but bearish on the 15 minutes. So a little bit less of a order flow being in sync, but at the end of the day, that still would have played out nicely. You got a sweep here of these lows, and then we kind of pushed higher. I don't know if it would have given us an entry though. Was that Wednesday? Would it have given us an entry? Yeah, right here. Nice distribution, and then the target probably made more sense for this one, to be honest with you. The target made more sense for this one. So yeah, that another trade opportunity there, I would say. Again, didn't love the fact that we had broke structure on the 15-minute to the downside. So at that point, if I was taking a buy right here, as you can see, it played out obviously, but if I was taking a buy here, the only two timeframes that would have been telling me to buy based off of order flow would have been, we had bullish order flow on the 4-hour and bullish order flow on the 1-hour. So obviously two very important timeframes for me if I'm intraday trading. I understand that. But I'd like to see at least one more time frame, like the 15-minute, be on my side. Especially if the daily is going to be bearish. But clearly it played out here, so something to take note of, right? And that's why we're doing this, to kind of gain an understanding. But I like the first trade better. So this trade, nice 1-to-1 there, right? And you don't have to catch much. You really don't. All right, so then let's go to today, because today had another opportunity for me. I'm going to find it. I forget exactly what it was, but obviously going into today, bearish again, right? Bearish. Sucks for the investments, but I don't care personally as a trader. Trader only, I do not care what direction we go into. But of course, the investor in me wants us going higher. Yeah, so bearish on daily. 4-hour, we were actually bullish on the 4-hour to start the day. right? 1 hour, so bearish daily, bullish 4 hour, bearish hourly. So bearish hourly, bullish 4 hour, bearish daily. Again, we're noticing a pattern. We're not in sync. We're not in sync. We got 3 time frames, 2 bearish, 1 bullish, right? Anyways, the trade I found, I think it was after, was it? Yeah. So basically what I would have done here, it's a similar situation to Tuesday, is I wanted to wait until the order flow was a bit more in sync. So again, the daily was bearish, the 4 hour bullish. So what I want to wait for is, if we're going to continue bearish, then fine. If I had a setup, if my model took place and we started going lower, I would have entered for a sell because we have the daily and the weekly being bearish and the 1 hour being bearish. So at that point, I'm like, okay, that's 3 time frames. 2 of them are very big time frames. I'm just assuming at that point that the 4 hour is going to adjust, right? We did not do that. We did the opposite. We pumped higher. So then I had to wait for the 1 hour to come into alignment. So I said, okay, I'm going to wait for this candle. I was hoping this candle did it, but this candle closed above, right? This candle here, making this a break of structure. So now at that stage, the 4 hour and the 1 hour were in sync. They were both bullish, okay? And also, of course, the 15-minute was bullish at this stage too. So the setup here, let me see. I think it was it this? Obviously you can see, I think it was this, so I'm going to mark this out. 15-minute fair value gap traded back inside of. We need to see that happen. We need to see some sort of higher time frame PD array getting respected. Oh, well, no, this doesn't matter because, wait, when? Yeah, that had to close first. Let me see on the 1 minute here. You know what? Now that I'm looking at this trade didn't make sense for me at this time. However, what was it? I'm not even gonna acknowledge this trade because the hourly was not bullish at this point. So for me to have entered, it would have been a sweep here, started going bullish here, enter off of this candle, break a structure here on the 1 minute, some okay distribution, not the greatest, and I don't even know what would I have been targeting. I don't know. I'm gonna ignore this trade, to be honest. That was not the one I was looking for. There's another one I took on demo that I actually ended up winning on demo, but I think that was in the afternoon, so I gotta find that. But let me actually just throw up the executions. It'll make it easier to find. Okay. So at this point, we're bullish on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, right? And what I didn't love about this is that we didn't respect this fair value gap. This one or this one, we did not respect. So that's what I didn't love about that. I guess technically we respected this inversion fair value gap right here. But I was hoping we would respect one of the hourly fair value gaps, not inversion. But anyway, that was a big reason why I didn't take this. Now, again, I know like not everything's gonna be perfect, and also you can take some trades where not every single one of your confluences is I get it, but is present. But Anyway, so yeah, that's that. We swept this low here. You can see on the 15 minute. Now, still, again, a rocky trade to kind of stay in, because here's what it looked like. Right, sweep. Got some nice distribution, which I really like to see when I'm going to enter something. And you can see we got entered here. So that was because I was a little late to this one. I just market ordered because it was a demo trade. But realistically, we're trying to get an entry like, it's not really like here. Stop underneath this low. And I ended up trailing my stop, so I missed this, but it is what it is. Like, market usually doesn't do this type of move over after hours, but I was targeting, I believe it was this high was my final take profit. So I took a contract off like right around here when we broke this high. You can see. Again, decent setup. This is one that I'm not upset about not taking as much as I was Tuesdays. However, obviously Tuesdays I was going to class, so whatever. Life kind of sometimes gets in the way, but I, in hindsight, should have taken that, and I didn't even have to watch it when I was in class. Just let it play out. If it's a 1-to-1, I'm not going to really manage the trade too much. I'm just going to let it play. You know. And even if I wanted to, I could have managed it while I was walking over to class. It wouldn't have been that hard. So next time we'll think about it. But yeah, this trade would have been a tough one to hold through, but would have played out. And it's not like I would have done anything drastic like close a trade. So it just would have been emotionally draining, I guess, to watch it almost tap us out there. But I would have let it play out. So yeah, that would have been the other trade that potentially could have been won today. Ended up taking one contract off here for like $150. Also note that this was a 1% of my account trade just because it was demo. So it's a little bit, the numbers are inflated as to how much I would have earned because I trade with 0.5% of my funded. But yeah, that would have been the other trade this week that I could have potentially taken. So not too many amazing opportunities, that is for sure. But in a market like this especially, I think it's important that I obviously stick to my plan, which I always intend on doing. I'm extremely disciplined when it comes to that, but if not every single confluence is there, like for instance, this trade here, we didn't necessarily respect a particular 1 hour fair value gap. We did end up respecting this inversion fair value gap, which I don't love, but it did happen. That's what happened. Maybe we can still place an order because every other confluence is there, right? And my model is present. So something to think about. But I just wanted to go over the trades so far this week, because it was kind of bugging me a little bit. Like, it's nice to get a perspective of what I've seen so far this week, and maybe what I've missed or what I've chosen not to take would be a better way of saying it. What I've chosen not to take. So obviously it takes a lot of discipline to just sit here for 3 days on my hands and not do anything. But, I wish I could have placed a trade, and, Tuesdays is probably the only one that I'm a little upset about, but good to get a perspective of the trading week so far. I'm not going to trade tomorrow because it's the day before NFP and my data shows that I do not fare well. The day before NFP. Friday, I do intend on being at the chart. Come market open, we'll know what NFP did by that point, and hopefully I can mark out a data high or low and see, or whatever But I will be looking for my model on Friday, and hopefully something can play out for us. But yeah, that is. I just wanted to journal that, have that on the YouTube, so I could get a better idea of what I've seen so far this week and what I've chosen not to take. So I'm happy overall though with my ability to sit in my hands. These trades weren't amazing, right? I know what my model looks like and what a good version of or like when it appears, it will jump out at me. And Tuesdays kind of did to an extent, so that's why I'm a little bit upset I didn't take it. The others though, and not really. So, yeah,